Hello, lovely people. Hopefully, you are having a wonderful day. It is a beautiful day here, and I am so glad to be with you. God and Goddess, thank you so much for all of the wonderful blessings that you have given to us. Thank you so much for safety and comfort and love. Thank you so much for getting to feed deer this morning and the interaction with animals that I continuously get to have. Thank you for opening my heart to so much love for the animals and getting to just see them and the happiness that brings to me. Please help us to make a better world for them and for ourselves, for all of us to enjoy this paradise together in nature as one. Please help us to be kind and loving and compassionate and help us ascend the golden ladder. In the name of Elohim, I pray. Amen. Today is Family Day, and the prayer is: Our God and Goddess, immanent and transcendent, send to all your angel of peace. To my family and friends, send your angel of love. If you haven't reached out to your family members for a while, maybe do that and find some other ways that you can be loving and compassionate and kind in your family world. So, before without further ado, I wanted to just read from the Holy Megillah, the Nasarean Bible of the Essene Way, translated by Day of Greenleaf and.org. Chapter in the Holy God Spell, we find a teaching story of Miriam called "You Can't Please Everyone, so follow your inner calling." Miriam saw a woman sitting beside the road crying. Miriam asked, "Why are you crying?" The woman replied, "I had one beautiful piece of cloth. I felt called to make a garment for my daughter. I began making the outfit, and when my mother saw the beautiful cloth, she advised that I make instead something for myself. She said that my daughter is too young to appreciate the value of such fine cloth. Therefore, I tore out the stitches and began to make myself a garment. Then, lo, my father, seeing the fine cloth, suggested that it instead be used to make a garment for my husband. He said that by doing so, I will show that I am placing my husband first in all things. Therefore, I once again tore out the stitches. I began to make my husband a house robe. When I was half done, my husband saw the fine cloth and asked what I was making. When he heard that I was making a house robe for him, he was happy, but forbade it. He said, "I care little about wearing fine cloth. Rather than a robe for me, make a garment for our son. Make him something he can play in." Once again, I tore out the stitches. I began to make a robe for our son. But behold, when I was near completion, my mother-in-law saw the fine cloth and asked what I was making. When she heard that her son, my husband, had told me to make a play garment for and having made numerous cuts, now the cloth is ruined. Now you know why I'm crying. Miriam replied, "Story. To market." They were not going to sell the donkey at the market. Rather, the donkey would carry back the heavy loads of goods that they would purchase. Knowing that the donkey would have to carry a heavy load home, the father let the donkey carry no passengers on the way to the market. Wherefore, the father and his son walked alongside the donkey toward the market. They came on a man who mocked them, saying, "Why should you walk when you have a donkey?" In response to this criticism and wanting to please the man, the father put his son upon the donkey. The boy began to ride the donkey to the market. The father walked beside him. After a while, they passed two men on the trail. One of the men said to the other, "Look at that lazy boy. He rides the donkey while his old father is forced to walk." Hearing that criticism and wanting to please the men, the father took his son off the donkey. The father mounted the donkey and told his son to take a turn walking. After a while, they passed another man on the trail. Seeing the father riding the donkey and the boy walking, the man shouted, "What a lazy man! You make your child walk while you ride." In response to that criticism, wishing to please the man, the father pulled his son upon the donkey. Behold, now they rode double upon the donkey. Soon they passed three women on the trail. The women shouted, "What cruelty! On a hot day like this, they make their mule carry two passengers." In response to this criticism, the father and son both got off the donkey. Behold, they attempted, very unsuccessfully, to carry their mule. Finally, for the first time on the journey, the boy spoke. He said, "Father, thank you for this lesson. Behold, I have learned the following truth. You can't please everyone. Wherefore, follow your own calling and let others follow theirs." After telling the story of the boy, the father, and the donkey, Miriam told the woman who had been crying, "Behold, this morning I was gifted with a beautiful piece of cloth. I now gift it to you." Miriam then gave a fine cloth to the woman. It's very She literally ruined that cloth that would have been perfectly good and wound up back in the same position, still wanting to make her daughter that piece of clothing, and now she couldn't because she was trying to the advice of other people and trying to please them and trying to do what other people were trying to tell her to do, especially those of us who came to not in line with the regular way of life, right? Like a job, get a career. We have to be trusting our we can't please everyone and trying to not really want to try to please everyone. I guess it's nice to try to make people happy and everything, but it can definitely infringe on expressing yourself and being who you are and what message for today that I wanted to leave with that to be who you are meant to be regardless of what other people tell you to do, and even just keep pressing on, especially if you're in line with the new these teachings of God and Goddess. If you haven't found your path yet, what you can do right now is be a light and be an example of love and kindness in the world that you are in with the people that you're around. Just try to be loving, go out of your way, extra acts of kindness, and just plant those types of seeds in this contested world so that it can be a place. Or not, if my internet is, it keeps saying reconnecting on my screen. So David, he says they're now reporting that 3-1 Atlas has changed course, combined with acceleration and emitting a blue light. They are heavily implying it's aliens, and they will be closest to our sun October 30th. Interesting. I've been seeing some more things about that as well. Not too much, because one of the last articles that I was reading kind of said that it was not as relevant as some people are making it seem. But that being said, Operation Bluebeam, and a lot of us know that they have talked about alien disclosure, and I have known for a very long time, especially being a flat earther, that these aliens are a lie, right? Aliens. They are demons in disguise, essentially. They're not our friends. Little ant, why don't you go somewhere else? And when we read the Holy Megillah, we hear about the false Yahweh showing up with his minions and being these metallic beings. And that's really interesting, knowing what we know about AI and the path that they want us to, that transhuman path that they want us to keep going down, to becoming enslaved light like them. So, we've been kind of programmed to think about these green aliens and the Pleiadians, the blonde hair, blue eye, whatever. But there's also these seraphim artificials, these metallic beings that have mated with metal and become something artificial. So it'll be interesting to see all of that kind of stuff unfold in the Holy Megillah. In the Holy Megillah, those seraphim artificials are finally revealed when the time of the seventh trumpet happens and the White House is essentially taken out. And that is, I mean, we're already in the sixth trumpet where people are merging with AI, and that continues according to the prophecies to, unless we stop it. That's the great thing. There's always hope. We don't need to be sitting and being afraid when we're talking about these prophecies. I've had people say, you can't share these things because they're going to scare people. Well, it is scary to think about, but also not knowing that we can stop it, that we've been through it before, and that death is not the end. There's a bunch of things that add to the hope and counteract that fear that can come. And it's better to know what, if you ask me, than saying that I've lost connection. And so I am going to figure out what's going on with my internet. I apologize. I hope that you have a wonderful day. I will be here tomorrow at the same time for noon peace contemplation. Internet. So I hope that you have a wonderful and